Hi everybody, my name is Christina. This is my video log which I'm starting, which will document my journey into womanhood. It will also identify any issues, and it's going to be used in therapy. So call this what you will: video log, diary, informational video. It is what it is. I'm just pretty much going to make a video every week, and whatever comes up comes up. Whatever's on my mind at the time of making this video, it's what's going to happen. Now, today, this one should be a little more informative because it's my first video. I would like people who would watch this video to know exactly who I am. I'm currently residing in Dover, Delaware. I lived before that in Philadelphia, where going full-time was just not a reality. Moving to Delaware allowed me to do that, even though for a brief time I actually had to backtrack on my transition, which was just like an absolute nightmare for me to do. But as I keep going and going, and I have my issues. Many of us have our issues. In fact, earlier today I had a really nasty depression bout, which I fortunately have gotten myself over pretty easily today, and I decided to try to make these videos as a form of therapy to myself, because I believe I need to get things which are scrambling in my mind out and get them to a point where I can get my story out there and I can vent myself and feel a lot better doing it. However, like I said, I lived in Philadelphia for many years. When we moved down here in February, the plan was to go to full-time as soon as I could move down. However, that didn't happen. Just one of the things that, unfortunately, I can't control. We had a little financial issues. I run into difficulties finding work coming down here. I have 15 years as an automotive mechanic. I also have experience as a shop manager for an automotive mechanic shop, and which would have very well suited me to become a service writer at a dealership or anything like that. However, none of that would come to fruition. I do actually have a job now, which I'm just waiting for the start date, but I have passed all the background checks. I passed everything. I'm just waiting for it to start. So yay. Other than that, I'm a musician. I've been playing since high school, which is like 96. So I'm looking at nearly 20 years playing bass. I just actually started to pick up guitar and play with guitar a little bit. Just something new I'm trying out. I'm a massive gamer. I love games. I play video games like a little too much probably. But all of that we'll get into later. As you can see from some of the wall art behind me, I have Firefly back there. I have Star Wars, and I have Cowboy Bebop right behind me, and Mass Effect. I was originally born in Liverpool, England. Immigrated when I was 10 years old with my family. My mom was born in Jersey, though. She was always kind of kept her American citizenship. Other than that, I mean, that's the basic of my life. I have 3 kids. Been married. I love my kids to death. 2 of my children I still live with. My youngest son and my daughter. My oldest son does live with his mother, but it was a mutual agreement that right now kind of just, it benefited everyone because it just did. It's hard. I do miss him, but it is what it is. But it's one of those things where it benefited him. He does better over there, so we just left it. I just left it go. A little more about myself. I'm not going to get too much into nitty gritty because I'm already about 5 minutes into this video. I have been through a lot of things growing up. I'm a late bloomer with, obviously, at 36 years old, I've only been on HRT 18 to 19 months. I knew who I was since, at first I could have sworn it was 14 years old. That was the time that I really could have sworn that a cutoff. When I hit puberty, I knew it. After I started to go through therapy and started to accept myself, started to do things like that, I realized that it went way back. Like, I don't even know how far back it went, but it was just stupid little things I remembered from childhood, from when I was a little kid, on vacation with my parents, stuff like that, like certain things I was ashamed of, because I didn't want to show that feminine side of me, which unfortunately probably came through anyway. Other than that, I was a Boy Scout. I'm not even touching that one. I am also a survivor in many aspects. I'm probably one of the low percentile of transgender people that actually survived a severe drug addiction. Back in around 2000, 2001, I had kind of a major crash issue. Back then, information wasn't readily available like it is now. And at the time, it was like, what do I do with this? And the pain was so great, I didn't know how to deal with it. And I discovered that heroin was a very good fix for my pain at the time. Even though in reality, it was probably the dumbest thing I could have ever done. But it comes down to, with a lot of us transgender people, either transitioning or hiding the pain or getting rid of that pain. That's why suicide is one of the highest percentiles in our group than any other group out there. Anyway, I was kind of messed up for about a year. Finally got myself cleaned up, moved to Florida. Just had to get myself away. At that point is when I had my son. And at that point I decided I needed to try to be that guy. I wanted to be a good role model and everything else. And I kept that motif for quite a few years after I came back to Philadelphia in 04 actually. Got married in 07 and kind of just slowly started to decay and become a shell. By 2012, I was a complete shell. I would come home from work, jump in front of my computer, play some random game until it was time to go to bed, and then go to sleep, wake up, go back to work, do the same thing each day. Needless to say, it put majorly excessive strain on our family, which is one of those things I still feel really bad about this time. In 2012, I had my second major crash where I did almost kill myself, which unfortunately, I hate to say, was not one of my first suicide attempts, but it was probably the one which would have done it if I didn't have intervention when I did. And it was at that point when I realized that I really needed to just do something. I didn't know what. I started looking online, started doing searches, and I found resources, and as I found the resources, I found a therapist. I went to the therapist not having a clue what I was going to do. I really had no clue. As everything went on, after my third therapy meeting, I knew what I kind of already knew, but I think I was still in denial about a lot of the stuff that was what I was trying to deal with. I was trying to just deal with so much feelings that was so suppressed. After I started therapy that first time, I just knew it. I knew I needed to transition. I knew who I was. It just had it hidden for so long, I kind of forgot. There was a lot of things I forgot, and that was one of the major things I forgot. So, as everything comes on, move on to about November, I start actually on hormones. Probably one of the most bittersweet days of my life. I finally, as I referred to it back then, got on the interstate. Everything in human life is a journey. Transition is a journey. And for me, my dichotomy was therapy was kind of like getting on those those little side streets and everything to go get on the interstate to go on your trip. Once you started hormones, that was the interstate. You know, you get up to 65 miles an hour, you just keep going. And for me, that's really what it was. And I started my therapy, and it was bittersweet because that day really marked the end of my marriage and my family unit as we knew it at the time. I'm very happy and very grateful to my wife, seeing that we're just separated right now, that she is still there and we still do live together. It's hard for her, it's hard for me, but it's just one of those things that I'm very grateful that she is actually who she is, and she's actually sensible, would never use the children as a weapon or anything like that, like so many other people have been through. So that I am actually very grateful for. Other than that, I do suffer from severe depression. It's one of the wonderful side effects of being me. I also suffer from PTSD from an incident that happened when I was 15, when I was first trying to discover myself. When I was younger, it was the days of AOL. I'm really dating myself right now. But yeah, it was the days of AOL. Back with the chat rooms, before really Google, before Yahoo, before all that stuff. And I was in a chat room. I was talking to people, and this one person started talking to me. He seemed he could have been very helpful and very nice. I was 15 years old at the time. I really didn't know much. I was kind of naive. I was very naive. Anyway, look at it. I was very, very, very naive. This guy came over to my house. My parents were out of town. We hung out for a little bit. We talked. And apparently he had other plans than what I did at the time, and as a result, I was raped. Anyway, that took me a long time. It was so traumatic though that I blocked it out of my memory. Until maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I didn't even remember it happening. And it wasn't until a therapy session, and we were kind of going over my history, and I brushed over some. It must have been a trigger, and brought it back to my head. And since then, it's something I've been coping with. It's something I've been dealing with. It's something that, in a little bit of time, one day, I will grow to forgive the situation. That time is not now, but I will grow, and I will deal with it like I'm dealing with it right now. Other than that, like I said, I'm a musician. I'm playing a band, Disillusion Purity, with pretty much one of my childhood friends who's very accepting of me. A lot of my friends are very accepting, which is a beautiful thing. In fact, the most common response I got is just really no one was surprised. Explain that one, but I thought before I came out, yeah, I'm an awesome actor. Yeah, look, I can pull on the macho facade. I'm a mechanic. I like cars. But in reality, at the end of it all, the act was seen right through many, many, many times. Other than that, that's pretty much about it. I was trying to keep these videos to around about 15 minutes. Got about 20 seconds left on this video. I would like to put something out there on these videos. If you leave any comments, any questions you may have for me in my next video, I will answer them, or at least attempt to answer them. So feel free to ask questions. I want to make this as open and personable as possible. And that's about all the time I have right now. I'd like to thank you for listening to my incessant rambling. And I hope to see you guys next video.